Okay, we have a function of the underlined portion of the text. As always, I'm going to read the excerpt at the beginning. I don't care so much about the names and the titles. They're generally very complicated, never simple. There are no John Smiths on the SAT. But I will skip through that. The other part, the background information, is absolutely critical to read, so I always read that. And let's begin there. The following text is from such and such, 1894 novel such and such. Christina Albers in 1910. Shakti is walking near a riverbank that she visited frequently during her childhood. Okay. She crossed the woods she knew so well. The trees seemed to extend their branches like welcoming arms. They greeted her as an old friend. Soon she reached the riverside. Okay, so what is the function of this? To welcome. It's showing a very sort of familiar, comfortable environment that's welcoming for her. So it suggests that Shakti feels uncomfortable. No, that's not correct. That's the opposite of the idea. It indicates that Shakti has lost her sense of direction. Nope, she's not lost. That's not the idea either. It emphasizes Shakti's sense of belonging in the landscape. Yeah, it reaches out for her, welcomes her. She belongs there. That looks pretty good. Let's just check D. It conveys Shakti's appreciation for her long-term friendships. Well, these aren't friendships. I mean, she knows the woods well, and they do greet her as an old friend, but it's not really about her friendships, let alone long-term. We have, long-term is old, I guess, but it's not really about long-term friendships. I think it emphasizes Shakti's sense of belonging in the landscape. Which choice best states the function of the underlined portion of the text? Researchers have found nearly 164,000-year-old molar from a member of the archaic human species known as Denisovans in a cave near Laos, suggesting that Denisovans lived in a wider range of environments than indicated by earlier evidence. Okay. So I guess the tooth tells them that they lived in a range of environments that we didn't even think about. So before the discovery, Denisovans were thought to have lived only at high altitudes in a relatively cold climate in what are now Russia and China. But they found this in the jungle in Southeast Asia in Laos. But the discovery of the tooth in Laos, so it's providing new evidence to highlight new discovery, basically. So it dismisses as untrue the research. No. It defines a term used in the description that follows in the rest of the sentence. No, it's not defining a term. It emphasizes the main goal of the research. No, it's not. It provides context that clarifies the significance of the information that follows in the rest of the sentence. That's correct. They're thought to have only lived at high altitudes in Russia and China, but now we know they lived in Southeast Asia as well. D is the correct answer. 3. Okay, we're looking for a function of the underlined sentence. Let's begin reading. Historians Tia and such have documented the assistance indigenous peoples gave back to black freedom seekers leaving the South before the U.S. Civil War. So the indigenous people, the Native Americans, helped the black people leave the South, and this is pre-war. So much of this historical evidence of this help comes from indigenous oral traditions and from autobiographies written by the freedom seekers. One such narrative is Jermaine Logan's autobiography. So this is an example. Okay, this is an example of the claim in the previous sentence. Present example of an autobiography that describes help given by an indigenous people back to a black freedom seeker. Okay, yeah, I mean, it is an example. This looks good. Hold on to that. It shows why Logan decided to write in great detail about his experiences. No, that's not it. It argues that autobiographies are particularly important sources of information. No, it's not that broad or general claim. It suggests that most historians believe villagers were more successful. No, nothing about their success. This is not the idea either. It simply is providing an example. One such narrative is an example. A is the correct answer. So what's the main purpose of the text? Let's read. In 2007, computer scientist such and such was working on converting printed books into a digital format. He found that some words were distorted enough that digital scanners couldn't recognize them, but most humans could easily read them. Based on that finding, he invented a simple security test to keep automated bots out of websites. The first version of the reCAPTCHA test asked users to type one known word and one of the many words scanners couldn't recognize. Correct answers provided the users were humans and added data to the book digitizing project. Okay, so the main purpose of the text is to show that you can sort of outsmart or overcome these bots, and that led to an invention. Okay, so discuss von Ahn's invention of reCAPTCHA. Yes, it is definitely doing that. To explain how digital scanners work? No, that's not correct. To call attention to von Ahn's book? No, not calling attention to his project. To indicate how popular. Again, it's not about the popularity. Those often are the wrong answers. A is the correct answer. Okay, we want the function of the underlined sentence. Some bird species don't raise their own chicks. Instead, adult females lay their eggs in other nests next to bird species' own eggs. Okay. Female cuckoos have been seen quickly laying eggs in the nests of other bird species when those birds are out looking for food. Okay, so this is an example of that, a bird laying its nest in other birds' eggs. So it introduces a physical feature of female cuckoos? No. It describes the appearance of the cuckoo nest? No. It offers detail about how female cuckoos carry out the behavior discussed in the text? Yeah, maybe actually. Let's check D. It explains how other birds react to the female cuckoo behavior discussed in the text. No, it offers detail about how female cuckoos carry out the behavior discussed in the text. I guess that's it, right? C is going to be the right answer. There's some details. They quickly lay the eggs, and they do it when the mamas are out, away from the nest of the real birds. So I guess that's the best answer. It's not describing the appearance of the nest. It's not introducing a physical feature. And it is not explaining how other birds, there's no discussion how other birds react to the female cuckoo. C is the answer.